from District 6.
Excellent. Okay. So today is, I showed you in the past a map of different pavement analysis for my district. There's been talk about pavement markings, center lines, fog lines, accommodation for, okay. Accommodation for people walking, basically making our streets safe for families to be able to walk their kids or kids to walk by themselves to the school bus stop. We've done a lot of really stellar work, and Public Works was commenting on it just yesterday on making safe routes to schools near the schools, but they haven't, no one has concentrated on the neighborhoods. So here's just a look at what it's like in the neighborhood. And I beg your pardon, President Goodnow, I neglected to set my timer. Here we go. Sorry. Okay, so this is Lafayette Street parallel to Lulu Haddon Park, looking north, and just there's a center line, but as you can see, no markings, nothing to make it clear where you can walk, where you can't. This is one of the first streets that started me going because I have a friend who lives 2 blocks past the top of that hill and she cannot walk to Lulu Haddon Park, which you see on the left-hand side. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the gold standard of what a street should look like. This is Marine Drive post the water main replacement. They were able to finally get the final paving done. They promised us it would be smooth as a racetrack, and I think if you look at it, it's as smooth as a racetrack. The markings are perfect and clear. Everything is clear. Here's where you can walk, here's where you can't. Next slide, please. Even on the portions of Marine Drive that were not repaved, the markings just really make it clear. This is for cars, this is not. Next slide, please. This is just really because it's so beautiful. This is the Cedars. Here's an example of a street that's it's old, but it's in good condition. Nobody's speeding in the Cedars. It's a 1.5 blocks long. There's no markings on the side, but you know, you really don't need them here. Just to say, I don't feel every single street has to have this. Plus, you know, it's pretty. Next slide, please. Okay, this is Corbett Avenue looking north, and this street was restriped this year. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner how the new stripe is just slightly off the old stripe. It's pointing ahead to a stop sign. This photograph is taken from a school bus stop that a child at that corner cannot get to because of, despite the markings, the people just really speed down these streets. District 6 is not rich in community centers or businesses or entertainment venues, but what we do have a lot of is long streets that you can really get some speed going. Corbett Avenue is one of them. So this is a help, but it's not everything you need. Next slide, please. Okay, this is Wyckoff Avenue looking north from 17th Street, and look, a speed bump, and the markings are clear, and these are all new markings this year. Just to show you what this looks like, where it's like actually possible. Not only can you see clearly where you can walk, you even have like a little bit of asphalt to push a stroller on. Next slide, please. Okay, looking south on Wyckoff, the road's not perfect, but it's it's good enough. And the markings really are helpful. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a mystery. Okay, this is out of order, and I frankly don't know exactly what I'm looking at. Callow Avenue, between 15th, looking north from 15th, you can, it's just, there's no markings, no center line, no nothing. This is a place where people really like to get up speed. Next slide, please. And this is a close-up in the midsection of the speed bump that is on Callow Avenue with the markings basically entirely vanished. So it's always a surprise. Next slide, please. Whew. Okay, I've got 58 seconds. I'm zooming as fast as I can. And the crown jewel of places to speed in District 6, Snyder Avenue, looking north towards the water from 19th Street. This is not universally acknowledged, but pretty widely acknowledged as a place where there's a lot of speeding. You'll see there's a stop sign line, but no markings, no fog lines, no center markings, nowhere for people to go. These are all, I believe, 25-mile-an-hour zones. That's the theory. Next slide, please. And this is looking south on Snyder Avenue, just with a close-up of the, the reflective bumps. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the street that made me run for city council. This is 13th Street at Cambrian. Are you guys all familiar with this hill? It goes up and around to Kitsap Way. Cars come flying down that hill. Kids try to walk down that hill to their school bus stops. They jump in, right now, of course, no mud, but this is where they have to jump into the mud, dodge around these utility poles. I think we should be doing better by our kids. Next slide, please. High-lows. Look, a sidewalk. Next slide, please. Look, a sidewalk on both sides of the street. Okay. And in fact, despite the the crazing of the road surface, you can see that all the way down to Naval, you've got sidewalks on either side. It's delightful. Just to conclude that by saying, you're letting me go over President Goodnow, but I won't go over long. Maintenance is not sexy. It's something I think we should indulge in nonetheless. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like I just got to see the slides from your family vacation. Okay, I'm sorry. Actually, you brought up I have a concern with the striping right in front of my house. I was out there with Public Works one day and realized you couldn't see the lines. District 4 Councilmember Queen.